To today's session, that is Design Submittal Process webinar. And for today, we have a great lineup of presenters that will bring you into the details of the design submittal process. So we're going to get to talk about the getting started, what is orientation meeting, project initiation form, the determination, the kickoff meeting with Kim Enriquez. We have the sustainable project initiation form with Christian Salvaranes. Handling of CMP, this is confidential and proprietary documentation with Jay Iverson. Digital signatures and seals with Bernice Avalos. Design review strategies, this is for conceptual reviews, full design, interim reviews with Rufino Martinez. Then we're going to go back to Ken to talk about the design submittal requirements. What do you need for your conceptuals, for your initials, in your subsequent submissions? And then we've incorporated into each of our series for this year the electronic submittal parts, that is the Trimble Unity Construct platform. So you're going to get to see, which previously was known as eBuilder. So you're going to get to see that as well, and some new things that we're bringing over for this next few years, okay? In between topics, we'll have a Q&A. So we're going to stop the recordings in between topics so you get to ask the questions, and then we'll have a general Q&A at the very end in case you didn't get the chance to ask your questions. Don't wait until the Q&A comes, right? You can always type them in the chat box and we'll read them as well too. So basically, what we're going to do is we're going to show you this flow chart, and everybody's going to receive the presentation at the end of our series. Not the year, at the end of the presentation, right? So you'll receive this presentation at the end over email. And we also have our YouTube channel where you can always go and revisit, which we will share the link for that as well. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to guide you through this entire flowchart today into details with the experts hand on hand. So don't be afraid to ask the questions again. No, there is no further ado. I'm just going to pass it over to Kim so she can take over with the orientation meeting.
Thank you, Ryan. Just please make sure to mute yourself and turn off your camera. So I'll start with the orientation meeting. Next slide. So at the orientation meeting, this is where the TCAP process will start. This is a briefing for all new tenants given by the Port Authority's tenant coordinator once a signed lease is in place and prior to the tenant beginning any work in their space. And this is also an option for any existing tenants who may want a refresher meeting for any reason. So at the orientation meeting, the tenant coordinator will provide all the requirements and rules for the tenant construction alteration or TCAP process. And this is a chance for the tenant to ask questions and gain confidence in how to proceed. So the required attendees for this meeting are the tenant rep and their design and construction team, if selected at this time, as well as the tenant coordinator and any other Port Authority staff as determined by the tenant coordinator based on the scope of the project. Next slide. Okay, moving into project initiation form. So this is the form that starts the submission of the TCAP process. In this form, the tenant will submit to the tenant coordinator. They will provide project location information, a detailed narrative of scope, the applicant information, estimated construction costs and schedule, and choose from a series of yes or no questions regarding the proposed scope of work. They also have an area to specify further detail if necessary. Next slide. Okay, moving into project determination. So once the project initiation form is submitted and the tenant coordinator receives it, they will review the project initiation form and provide a project determination, whether a TA or a minor works. The project determination will also assign a TA number to your project and provide next steps. So the TA process is to be followed for all construction and alteration work that involves any code issues or impacts any life safety systems, fire protection systems, ventilation, egress changes, facility structural integrity, or hazardous materials. Next slide. Okay, we'll move into the kickoff meeting. So at the kickoff meeting, which is scheduled by the tenant coordinator, this is a requirement for all TCAP projects. And again, you'll have more information on the TCAP process and how to move forward. The required attendees, again, are the tenant coordinator, tenant rep, and the tenant's AOR, as well as any architectural or engineering consultants who are encouraged to attend, as well as construction team members if they're selected at this time. So again, tenant coordinator will review scope of work, TCAP process, and provide meeting minutes at the end of the meeting. Next slide.